we're right now in the 2-minute drill. We got 3 live mics going where the 2-minute drill, the second offense, Zach and Eric. And Zach, you said you got something there?
Yeah, so prior to this, they had the ones out there, and it's always fun to watch these one-on-one battles. So Terrence Steele, we've been talking about him quite a bit and how Micah Parsons has had his way with him yesterday, a little bit earlier today as well. There was another individual matchup between the two, and you could see the improvement by Steele. He did a good job one-on-one against Parsons, and that's what you want to see right there, right? Naturally, you're going against the best on your team. How do you evolve? How do you improve throughout camp? I thought Steele won that battle. And then CeeDee Lamb working against Diggs on the far left of the field. CeeDee Lamb wins immediately off the line of scrimmage on a double move. He's wide open. He stacks Diggs, and Dak just doesn't throw the ball. That's something where, sometimes Dak needs to get up to the line of scrimmage. I'm just going to go, I see man-to-man. I need to throw the ball to my best player here. And that's one where they miss for a deep shot, and you could see the frustration a little bit from CeeDee Lamb because he knows he won right off the line.
So they're now still continuing working on the 2-minute drill. It's interesting because in that last thing you were talking about, CeeDee, he was playing a lot more slot corner is what he was. Slot receiver there on that particular thing. I'm watching right now. I'm watching Josh Ball here at right tackle, and they kind of get things. It was a twist stunt. They got it all sorted out, but Cooper Rush missing Brown. Noah Brown's a guy that we were kind of talking about as potentially a guy that might be on the bubble, and I see we joined in here by Bobby Belt. Bobby, you're
what's up?
Talking about Noah Brown, potential bubble guy.
Yeah, Noah Brown's been really good today, though, actually. I think he's had a good practice. He's had a couple nice catches. The thing I'm taking away so far out of these practices, and I'm hoping it'll continue to improve, left guard's got to be better. Both of them, Smith and McGovern, both really struggled early on today with Tristan Hill.
Well, let's take a look at Smith. He's in there right now. He's running with the twos here.
He's gotten better as things have gone along today.
He's been in trouble. The problems he has is when people do the spin moves on him and stuff like that.
He held on one of those earlier today.
Yeah, the quickness kind of gives him a little bit of a problem with that.
Osa hit him with one of those on the last 2-minute drill, and he bear hugged him.
Well, they're doing a good job here of, again, it's a lot of 11 personnel stuff with these 3 wide receivers. And, nice play right there.
Brian, there was that spin move there. Smith just got that one, stonewalled him a lot better. Hopefully he's catching up to that.
Well, that was a really nice play. Wanyan Thomas, again, a name that we don't talk about so much, but he's playing safety for your Dallas Cowboys, number 40, and just made a nice breakup on a crossing route.
But, guys, we keep talking about Kellen Moore's offense, right? And what you're still seeing is a lot of these crosses in the middle of the field. We've seen a ton of those, and it's just adding a lot of congestion. And I got to tell you, either the balls are low or you're seeing the linebackers and the safeties win so far. TJ Vasher did a good job getting wide open and breaking clean on a slant. But otherwise, I mean, the middle of the field, there's just a lot going on in there. It's been tough for these quarterbacks to execute and fit a ball inside.
Yeah, Devin Harper, the rookie from Oklahoma State, just came on a blitz, didn't pick him up. He went clean A gap between the guard and the center there, and he was able to get home. That would have been a sack. So Devin Harper, Oklahoma State, Cheech, guy that we talked about, can really, really, really run.
Yeah, I like that. I like the speed factor there because you just can't get enough of that. We know they love the speed on the defense. How about just seeing Sam Williams? I couldn't tell if Sam Williams was lined up as an off-ball linebacker and playing coverage there, or if he dropped from his end spot. But he was definitely playing coverage, and it's funny because he's such a monster. He's a giant man out there running around playing in coverage. I couldn't tell though if he was lined up as an off-ball linebacker or traditional like the edge, and then they were doing a stunt where he kind of dropped into coverage there. I don't know how often we want to see Sam Williams in coverage.
No, not that much at all, but that was a blitz. It was almost like they were trying to overload one side, and that's how I think they got Harper home on that the lineman didn't do a very good job of sorting that out. So we're into a period now. Let's see if we can find some people along the sidelines here to maybe take I know I saw Brad Sham and others, maybe get some commentary, but they're into now the part of practice where they got the helmets off and it's more of a walkthrough kind of thing. So let's see if we can maybe grab a guy or two or a gal to talk about this team. Yeah.
I'd love to know from you, now that you've got to watch 2 days of some team portions here, do you feel strongly, medium, that the defense is getting the better of the offense? To what extent would you say who's winning?
I think that when we were in the crosstalk today that Eric was talking about, that defense is clearly ahead of what the offense is doing right now. And I don't think I was worried about the wide receiver play maybe being that a problem, but it seems like that this front seven with the linebackers, with the defensive line, has done a really good job. I mean, the rotation at tackle, defensive end, Dan Quinn's dialed up a couple of blitzes that have got guys home. So, yeah, the defense looking a little bit cleaner right now than what we'd say the offense is.
Well, and one of the things that I've liked about from a defensive standpoint is last year, and we'll get into this a little bit later on in the show, is an interesting stat. And there's a bunch of them in regards to the Cowboys defense last year, and they're all mostly positive. But one of the things the Cowboys gave up a ton defensively last year were the big plays defensively, and you're not seeing many big plays being given up here. Now, they missed an opportunity where it's one-on-one coverage, and there's CeeDee Lamb on the sideline, and he beats Diggs right there at the start. Dak kind of checks it down as opposed to going the deep way. But he's not. The defense is not giving up the big plays, which is encouraging from a defensive standpoint. They're doing a lot of underneath stuff offensively. But I wish we would have got Dak hitting CeeDee Lamb on that one-on-one with Diggs earlier.
Well, the problem is, guys, I think the deep stuff's there. We're just not the ball's just not getting pushed down the field is the issue right now, and I think that continues to be a little bit of a frustration. Now, look, this is second day of camp here. It's going to be pretty vanilla. We're not going to necessarily see everything that's in Kellen Moore's bag here. But I do think as we continue to talk about the offense as a whole, that's something we want to see. And the quarterbacks, whether they're just not comfortable or they're just not going through the progressions and the reads fast enough, everything underneath right now is suffocated by these linebackers. And I would say the safeties as well have done an excellent job in coverage.
Yeah, I think to me, when you talk about that, they're trying to run these shallow crosses underneath, and the linebackers, the depth, it just hasn't been real clean. They've gotten pressure in their face, and then all of a sudden they're trying to fit it to a guy that's running underneath. And that's, we'd seen that before when you watch like Oklahoma football and you watch how they got CeeDee Lamb, a lot of those underneath plays, and then allowing him to take off and run on those. It seems like they're trying to incorporate, but it just hasn't been as clean because of linebacker play and then pressure from the defensive line.
Still getting a heavy dose of Tony Pollard playing some wide receiver as well here. Whether it be in trips, playing in the slot, whatever it is, he's doing plenty of route running from the receiver spot, and we just continue to see that. We've seen it since minicamps. We saw it yesterday. We're seeing it again today. And how about the size of the vanilla gorilla? We needed to add a big-bodied one tech on the interior of the defense. That dude is an absolute mammoth.
I know they have big hopes for him, not only on the field but off, leadership. I mean, the way that he talks, he's a very confident guy. So,
there's talk about him, Gavin, actually being a mentor. And here's a guy, rookie, being a mentor to another rookie with him and Sam Williams. I know Bobby Belt just kind of brought that up that they really, really do trust Ridgeway as that type of guy that could be a leader, maybe a captain type. And it's how could you have it interesting, like other than maybe an Aaron Donald as a defensive tackle, be a captain? But they're talking about this guy one day maybe being that type of, not an Aaron Donald player, but a captain of your team.
Well, that'd be outstanding. I think not only being a captain, but if he can be an impact player and start to shut down that defense and keep the linebackers clean, I'm really hoping for another step in the evolution of this being, a team maybe even led by its defense.
Yeah.
With not passing the ball down the field, I'm okay with that. If you want to play the short passing game, I need to see deception before and after the snap. Are we seeing any progress in that department, or is it the same old?
Yeah, I feel like, though, there's a little bit more of movement, and it's coming from the slot. And so when you see CD and the involvement that he has, it's like tight wing, motion across, and then a break from that, or they have.
Is that enough eye candy to you, Brian?
I tell you, any type of movement to try. I mean, heck, it's better than no movement.
It's better than no movement. Don't you think? It's Pollard and it's Lamb.
Yeah.
Those are the two guys they're doing, and they're playing with it the most. Whether it's, they're lining up with Pollard, it's going left to right, it's crossing the quarterback's face in the shotgun, and then he's going from lining up in the backfield over into the slot or from the opposite side. But those are the two guys that they're doing some of the window dressing with. But as you were saying it, I'm looking over at Eric, and Eric's like, no, it's still not enough.
No, it is. It's not what I would prefer. I think it's not what most fans would prefer. It's not what a Rams fan showing up on Sunday when he's used to watching a Sean McVay offense. If this was the product he was getting from a window dressing standpoint, and there's just movement all over the place, and just a lot of things for the offense or the defense to have to kind of consider there, and movement at the snap where guys are like full speed at the snap of the ball. That's all the stuff that you see around the league. It's still not. It's still not what you're seeing.
Yeah,
here.
what you're talking about though is like movement one way and then sending another a skill player the other, maybe with a play. So you get the eyes going to the right, ball coming back to the left. That's something. It's just one guy moving. It's not the combination that you would see movement than a guy coming back the other way. That maybe that's something that they'll game plan further. But it is a little bit better than what it been. I mean, we've sat here and watched these last 3 or 4 plays, and they've moved the slot from the right to the left, like the last 3 plays I've noticed.
I think the best way to kind of distinguish it is you have a motion play where one guy, he lines up on the right and then he ends up on the left,
right.
But it's a stagnant deal. What you see around the league now is a lot of the motion at the snap, where a guy is still moving and actually running full speed across the formation when the ball is snapped,
right.
And that's the type of motion you don't really get.
And they got one of those in with Tony Pollard. But otherwise, you're right. It is very stagnant, and it's kind of just the generic pre-snap motion. But they got one with Tony Pollard where it was snapped with him on the move going out to the right flat.
And
All right.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I do think quarterbacks, some quarterbacks maybe don't prefer to have that because they want the defense set, and it's more of an advantage to the quarterback to understand what the defense is kind of doing, and not having the movement maybe helps with that. So I don't know how much Dak prefers an offense like this.
Yeah. Well, they just moved. They just moved CeeDee Lamb across the formation. It didn't affect the defense at all. Everybody stayed stationary. So they felt like that defense, they had it covered. Even with him moving across the formation, they felt like they had it handled.